Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's Health, Wellness and Dr. Nugent call. For those that don't know me, my name's Poppy and I'm your marketing lead here at Mannatech. And today I have the privilege of introducing Dr. Nugent to the call. So Dr. Nugent is Mannatech's Global Wellness Director and Chairman of the Global Scientific Advisory Board. Dr. Steve Nugent, who has more than 45 years experience in the area of integrative medicine. He has tested more than 6,000 dietary supplements and formulated more than 100. He is internationally recognised as an expert in the field and has been teaching doctors for more than 30 years. He is Mannatech's most requested speaker worldwide, and he has earned multiple degrees, including top honours at both the undergraduate and graduate levels. His areas of studies include integrative medicine, health and wellness psychology, leadership psychology, organisational psychology, nutrition science, and business administration. Dr. Nugent has served as president of the International Association of Complementary Medicine and is the president at the American Naturopathic Medical Association and is a professional member of the American College of Nutrition. He was awarded the Servant's Heart Award by Mannatech in 2007. And Dr. Nugent was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, served his country with honor as a United States Marine, and has been a resident of Texas for nearly 2 decades. And now it's time to pass you over to Dr. Nugent. So welcome. Thank you so much for joining us as you talk to us today about sport.
Thank you, Poppy. I appreciate it. It's kind of a difficult introduction to read, so you did well. It's a toughie.
Thank you. It was getting a bit tongue-tied, but thank you.
Well, my friends, this morning we're going to be talking about sport. And, sport is a product that just doesn't get talked about enough, unfortunately. But I hope that after today's presentation, you will have a lot of new reasons to not only use sport yourself, but to recommend sport to people who maybe didn't think about it before. So I'm going to do the share screen bit, and we'll pull up some slides here. Get up here to the top. There we go. Now, before I start, folks, you are encouraged to make comments in the chat. I can't see the chat while I'm presenting, but we encourage you to do that. And then, of course, there's feedback for you later on that. And we love your feedback as well. Okay, sport. Well, let's give you a little bit of history on sport before I start talking about the benefits of sport, because unlike a lot of presentations, this presentation is almost entirely benefits. And if you want to convince someone to buy a new product, well, they want to know, what are the benefits? What's in it for me, as the old saying goes. So we are going to be, and I do this in all my presentations, so this is what you're going to expect in this presentation. We're going to talk about the purpose of the product, a little bit about the history, because it's interesting and it will help you to explain to people why this thing is called sport. Why isn't it called something else? That was a question for me for a long time as well. And we'll talk about the ingredients in some detail. You expect that from my presentations. And of course, the benefits of those ingredients and the traditional uses. Now, here's something that I would like all of you to think about. It was designed by an athlete, for athletes. However, the majority of the people that use this product are not athletes. They're just non-athlete, everyday people who need the benefits that this product can offer like no other product out there. So keep that in mind. It was designed by an athlete for athletes. That's why it's called sport. Well, let's talk about before I get into too in-depth on the ingredients, let's talk a little bit about that. The designer of this product was an athlete. In fact, he was obsessed with athletics. And I first met him. He was a bodybuilder, and his muscles were so huge that he had a hard time getting his arms down to his side. If you can imagine, he looked like a Mr. Universe contestant. And for him, his name was Bill, and Bill and I became very good friends. Bill Fioretti, not to be confused with Bill McAnally. Okay, so Bill Fioretti was our first formulator at Mannatech, and he's also the one who's responsible for Plus. So you'll see a common thread here, which I'll talk about in a little bit, the common thread between Sport and Plus. Anyway, for him, it was always about more reps, more weight, more speed. It was always about more because that's what athletes are looking for. They're looking for more performance, better performance. Something that happens to athletes when they push their muscles very, very hard is they begin to build up something called lactic acid. As the lactic acid is building up in the muscle tissue from exertion on those muscles, the athlete or anyone will begin to feel pain in those muscles, and the pain will then keep them from doing more reps, more speed, more exercise, more of anything. Well, the way that works is through blood sugar. If your body is doing what it should do during exertion, it should get its energy by oxygen, by converting stored body fat through an oxygen pathway into energy. That's the way it should work. But for most people, it doesn't. What happens is they begin to pull sugar first from their blood and then from their muscles. And if they can push themselves beyond the pain, they'll start to pull the blood sugar out of their livers because you also store blood sugar there. So he thought if he could design a product that would reduce the possibility of lactic acid buildup during exertion, it would be a great product for athletes. And he's right. It is. It's a great product for athletes. But because of some other components he put in there, it's a great product for just about everybody, which you're going to learn as I go through these ingredients one at a time. Let's start with chromium. Now, anytime you have a discussion about blood sugar, of course, you're going to have chromium. Chromium picolinate is currently the best studied form of chromium. It is very effective and very safe. And we know that it really does significantly help to manage your blood sugar, to balance your blood sugar, to keep it at healthy levels. So that by itself can help to reduce lactic acid buildup in the muscles. But there's also inflammation that occurs when you're working your muscles and when you're working your joints. If you're running, even if you're just lifting weights and you're not doing like long distance runs or something, you're still working your joints pretty hard as well, and inflammation begins as soon as you do that. So the anti-inflammatory components of this product are extremely important and extremely effective. I personally love sport. I take sport every day. And I take sport every day because of the anti-inflammatory components. Just a little word for all of you. Mannatech is an international company. We are currently doing business in 43 countries. And so that means that you might be talking to somebody from a country that has different rules and regulations than you do in the three Australasian countries. So keep in mind that in the US, if you're talking to an American, you're not allowed to say the word inflammation or the word anti-inflammatory or any derivative thereof. In the US, it's not permitted, which is crazy. It's absolutely crazy because inflammation is the basis of basically all ill health. There is no health issue that doesn't have an inflammatory component. None. All of them have it. So literally, if you're talking about helping yourself with your overall health, not just being an athlete, but your overall health, using an anti-inflammatory that is natural and safe, and I'll talk more about that in a few moments, is a really good thing for you to do. Now, I'm not using sport personally because I'm an athlete. I'm not an athlete. In fact, I'm over 70. We'll leave it at there. And so I have a lot of the inflammatory components that are related to the natural aging process that are quite natural and normal for anyone really over the age of 40. So this can be so beneficial. Just even before I get into the individual benefits, this can be so beneficial just to make you feel better overall each day. When your body controls inflammation, your body is much, much healthier as a result. Boy, I wish I could say that in the United States, but I can't. But I can say it here, so you're going to hear a lot of it. All right. In fact, one of your TGA approved claims actually discusses the traditional use as an anti-inflammatory in North America. But I can't say anti-inflammatory in North America. It's so crazy, the regulations country to country. All right, you're going to see a common theme here. You're going to see things that are called terpenes and phenolic compounds. Now, these are things that we know help to reduce inflammation, and they do so significantly. Now, the TGA in Australia, they require that anything which is an herbal have its scientific name. So on your label, you have a scientific name that might, which you see on the screen right now, which might say, I don't know what that is. I can't even pronounce it. Well, everyone's heard of myrrh, and the common name is myrrh. So I'm going to use that name. Back to the biblical story of frankincense and myrrh, right? Sorry. So terpenes of various types help to reduce inflammation. Keep that in mind as we move forward. And myrrh has been used for thousands of years in Ayurvedic medicine, or the form of medicine used in the ancient Indian subcontinent, so not just in India, but throughout the ancient Indian subcontinent, and that would include Sri Lanka as well. And also in traditional Chinese medicine, myrrh was very common, used as an antimicrobial, as an anti-inflammatory, and it has analgesic properties as well. In the pharmaceutical world, myrrh has been used in throat lozenges, mouthwashes, antiseptic formulations. Why? Because it's been shown to help with oral health, reducing gingivitis in some studies, and mouth ulcers as well. In the cosmetic industry, it's been used in many products because of its anti-aging and anti-inflammatory benefits. If you want your skin to look great, well, reducing inflammation is, again, very important. So studies on myrrh, and throughout this presentation, I've given you many studies that you'll see as we go through the slides. It's been shown to modulate the inflammatory response and the inhibition of pro-inflammatory cytokines, as well as oxidative stress pathways. So there's antioxidant benefit in this product too. Think about it already. You have blood sugar support. You have anti-inflammatory support. I'm going to tell you a lot more about that during this presentation. And you have antioxidant support as well. This is one heck of a product. I would love to see more people using this. Unfortunately, the name sport, sometimes people who are not athletes, they think, well, I don't want a sports product. I'm not going to even look at that product. Well, you need to help people take a look at this product, and you'll know how to do it by the end of this presentation. Well, the comparative effectiveness of myrrh is pretty darn interesting. In a very recent scientific study, 2021, in scientific terms, that's very recent. In fact, if you're anything under 5 years, very recent. Anything under 10 years on a study is considered valid and current. So in a 2021 study, they looked at the anti-inflammatory properties of hydrocortisone, and that is a pharmaceutical medication to fight inflammation, and compared it to myrrh. And what they found out is that the potential with myrrh for treating inflammation was definitely there with fewer side effects, and it was very effective in this study. The reason I personally take sport is for the anti-inflammatory benefits. All right, now here's one. Every time I mention this, especially if I mention this ingredient in North America, I'll have someone say, oh, sarsaparilla, like in the cowboy movies. Well, yeah, like in the cowboy movies. Back in the 1800s in the US, it was a common soft drink, sarsaparilla soft drinks. Tastes a little bit like a soft drink known as root beer, and root beer is not available in every country, so I'm not even sure. I don't consume soft drinks, so I'm not even sure if root beer is available in Australasia. But sarsaparilla tastes a little bit like root beer. It's got a very pleasant taste, very pleasant aroma. And of course, TGA requires that it's listed in its Latin name, which you have on the label. But we'll use the common name, sarsaparilla. So sarsaparilla is, this is a root extract. And what are we pulling from that? Well, we're pulling saponins and flavonoids. We're also pulling phenolic compounds, phenolic acid. And again, phenolic acid goes back to anti-inflammatory. In fact, sarsaparilla all by itself, just sarsaparilla, is an amazing anti-inflammatory. If you're taking a sufficient number of milligrams, and guess what? That number of milligrams is contained in the recommended serving of sport. And if you take that amount, you've got some pretty good anti-inflammatory properties and antioxidant properties, as mentioned in a 2010 study. So health benefits then of sarsaparilla. Well, obviously, one of the health benefits is antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. I'm just going to keep pushing on that one because that's going to be the main reason. We already have the best antioxidant product anywhere in the world, and we call it Ambertose AO. I wish it was just called AO, but it's not. And and that throws people off sometimes. Oh, is this the same as Ambertose? And no, it's not. Okay, but anyway, so we already have the best antioxidant you can get. Having additional antioxidant help is not a bad thing in today's world, as unfortunately, our planet is becoming more toxic every year, not less toxic. And I know all of the discussions from various companies telling you that they're going green and they're cleaning up their act and they're cleaning up the planet. The reality is, it's just not the case. Planet Earth is becoming more toxic, our air, our water, and unfortunately, our food supply is becoming more toxic every year. You need antioxidant support, folks. Everyone on planet Earth needs it. So I think it's a great benefit from now 2 of the ingredients that I've mentioned in this product. And both of these ingredients, of course, not only the antioxidant, but the all-important anti-inflammatory. And if you look at the study, if you choose to go look up that study and read it, you'll see very significant results with that. And what about blood sugar? Well, sarsaparilla has actually been studied for both blood sugar and blood pressure. Very interesting. It's just great stuff. You know, maybe we should be drinking sarsaparilla soft drinks. I don't even know if they're even made anymore, to tell you the truth. But the inhibitory activity of sarsaparilla through enzymes that, and I'm not talking about digestive enzymes, that's a different lecture. Your body has thousands and thousands and thousands of different types of enzymes, not just digestive enzymes. And all of these enzymes are key in more functions than we could possibly talk about in this presentation. So by being able to inhibit certain enzymes, this helps you to balance your blood sugar and balance your blood pressure. Now, that's not a claim by Mannatech, and you're not going to find that in your materials for registered claims. I'm just telling you about this study that was done that showed exactly that. So, if you can have any additional benefit for blood sugar and blood pressure, regardless of whether or not that benefit is fully what you might need for your specific problem, it's still a big benefit that's just, it's just throwing a little extra on that formula, which I think is great. So in traditional uses, then, it was used by the indigenous people in the United States and really throughout North America, so the US and Canada. And in the US, they incorrectly say Native Americans. There's no such thing as a Native American because there were never any human beings in America to begin with. So I like indigenous myself because indigenous is accurate and I love to be accurate. So in indigenous medicine, so among the tribes in what is now the United States and parts of Canada, they use sarsaparilla for skin conditions and to purify their blood and as an anti-inflammatory. So important. There are also benefits for detoxification and for liver health with sarsaparilla. And I don't know if I've mentioned this in any recent calls for Australasia, but there is an unknown increase. We don't know why, but there are more complaints related to the liver uh, worldwide, and not just in one country or two or 10. I'm talking worldwide. And we don't quite understand what's going on with that, but liver issues are increasing. So liver health is important. And detoxifying your liver, of course, especially if you're drinking water on planet Earth, breathing air on planet Earth, well, you're going to need to look at detoxification as well. Now, here's an ingredient that doesn't get enough talk. I know that people all over the Mannatech world who have used our product plus, they love that product. I have not seen uh, so much positive reaction to a single product as I have to plus. Plus, its primary functional ingredient is called Diascorea villosa. Now, there are many types of Diascorea, by the way. Villosa is just one of them. There are, in fact, more than 600 types of Diascorea or wild yams of one type or another. Diascorea villosa, that grows in Mexico and in the southernmost portions of the United States, southern Florida, and a little bit in southern Louisiana and so on. So very, very hot, humid climates is where Diascorea villosa grows. Now, if you were going to eat it, if you were just going to take the plant and take a bite out of it, you probably wouldn't like it too much. It's pretty nasty taste. But early indigenous peoples in North America did eat it because their shamans would tell them that, you know what, we don't know why, but there's benefits to this. And they knew, of course, the shamans always knew what the benefits were. It's pretty interesting. The study of indigenous medicine in North America is actually quite interesting. Anyway, so Diascorea villosa, sometimes referred to as the Mexican wild yam, or just the wild yam. This contains saponins and particularly something called diosgenin. The diosgenin is the most important functional in Diascoria villosa. Diasgenin helps your body to balance or modulate your hormonal activity. That's very, very important to make this clear for everyone, because no matter how many times I've said this, the question keeps coming up. So let's get this very clear. Diascoria villosa is not estrogen. Diasgenin is not estrogen. And I'm always asked the question because of all kinds of nonsense that's on the internet. And unfortunately, the internet, once something's typed on the internet, it just never, ever goes away. No matter if it's wrong, no matter how old it is, no matter if it's outdated, it just never goes away. It's just always there. So you have to keep answering the question. And people will say to me, especially the ladies will say to me, well, I'm concerned about breast health. Is Diascoria safe since it's estrogen? It's not estrogen. And it physically cannot convert either to progesterone or estrogen. Cannot convert. All right. And you'll see that in most countries, one of the approved statements for plus is that it supports breast health. Okay. Just so you know that. Now, the majority of people who buy plus because of the Diascoria villosa, because of the diasgenin, are female because they find that they have more significant imbalances in hormone than men do. The male reproductive system is unbelievably simple, and the female reproductive system, oh my gosh, it is so complicated. Even the experts are often dumbfounded. So I have a lot of sympathy for the ladies when dealing with their hormonal balances, and that's why they love Plus so much. Now, Plus also helps you to just feel better overall, a general sense of well-being. Now, I've been spending time on Plus because one of the points of confusion that people have all over the place is that, well, if something contains the same ingredient as another product, it therefore must be identical and have identical functions to the other product. Now, on its face, that's simply illogical. Just think about it for a moment. Why would Mannatech make two products that have exactly the same function? That would be foolish. Why would we do that? So, does sport replace plus? Answer no. Nothing replaces plus. Now, do you have some hormonal benefit from sport? Very often that's the case, but it doesn't replace plus because if you look at the formulas, just look at the labels of the two products, you're going to see that the formulas are different. Now, they do both contain Diascoria villosa, but the rest of the formula is different. And if you take item A and combine it with item B, you get one function. If you combine it with item C, you get a different function. Hopefully that makes sense for everyone. Okay. So, does sport replace plus? Answer no. Does plus replace sport? Answer no. Sport was designed for athletes by an athlete, but its biggest benefit is anti-inflammatory function. Do you have some anti-inflammatory function in plus? Yes, of course you do, from the Diascoria villosa. But the additional benefits, anti-inflammatory benefits with plus, makes sport a product in a class of its own. So don't think that by taking one, you replace the other, because you don't. Okay, that's the way the science reads. Okay, so traditional uses of Diascoria villosa, of course, women's health, hormonal balance. I've had husbands who've come up to me and say, you know what? I love plus. I don't take it, but I love it because our marriage is better now. My wife is happier and healthier. And, you know, if you have products that can help to save marriages, well, that's pretty good, I think. So, in traditional use of Diascoria villosa, obviously, menopause relief, PMS, hormone regulation in general. Why should men also take plus as well as sport? But why should men also take plus? Because men also have hormones. Now, the male hormone system is much more simple than the female hormone system, without a doubt. But men still have hormones, and men still do have imbalances, especially beyond a certain age. Generally, when men get up in the 55-ish and higher, they begin to have cranky old man syndrome. And that's kind of a joke among practitioners. But you've met the guy who's just cranky all the time. And he doesn't know that he's having hormone problems, but he is. So Plus is great for men and women. I personally use Plus every day because I have hormones too. And I want to have good hormonal modulation. Again, Diascoria villosa physically cannot convert either to progesterone or estrogen. All right, so don't be worried about that at all. There's anti-inflammatory effects, and pain, in almost every instance, pain is a result of inflammation. And as you reduce the inflammation, you reduce the pain that was caused by that inflammation. That just should make sense to everybody. So by using all of these ingredients that we're talking about, here you see another study that you can look at if you choose. What you see is that the Diascoria villosa has anti-inflammatory properties and pain relief properties if the pain is related to the inflammation. If you reduce the inflammation, then you can potentially also reduce the pain that's related to it. And digestive and liver health. Even people who love Plus, they just don't understand Plus and sport. They don't understand all the benefits of Diascoria villosa, huge benefits. Digestive health, according to the most recent global surveys, and I know that you'll have numbers that vary a little bit from one country to another. Some countries don't do health surveys very well. Some countries don't do health surveys at all. Some countries only do limited health surveys. But globally, if you take all the numbers around the planet, digestive health issues are number one, even higher than immune health issues. Now, the liver, whether you understand it or not, is part of the digestive system. In fact, you can't digest your food without a healthy liver. You just can't. The liver actually has more than 500 functions. 500 different functions. Lots of people think liver detox. Okay, well, it's a lot more than detoxification, a lot more. So in terms of liver health, and as I mentioned a few moments ago, the jury is still out. We just don't know for certain. But liver health issues are increasing in every country on planet Earth. And they're increasing at an unprecedented rate. We don't know why this is happening. I suspect, but I have no scientific study to validate it. I suspect, based on the information that I've read, based on what I know from patient care that I did for so many years, I think that this is diet related. I think it's our food that's actually causing the liver issues. Maybe we'll do a different lecture on liver health sometime in the future, but right now, I want you to know that liver health problems are in the increase. Right now, there are actually incredible numbers of people who are developing something called non-alcoholic fatty liver. Non-alcoholic. How is this happening? The only thing that makes sense to me as a scientist is that this is related to chemicals in our food. I just can't see it coming from, I don't see evidence of it coming from anything else yet. Maybe there is something out there, we'll see, but at this moment, I don't see it. So digestive health, you bet, very important. Liver health, more important than you know. In fact, it used to be that we didn't have anyone reporting liver health issues. When I say anyone, the majority of liver health issues weren't reported by anyone who was younger than about age 60. But now we're seeing it in people who are in their 30s. 30s. Okay, folks. So this is something to think about. Anything that you can do to support the health of your liver, anything that you can do to support healthy digestion, you want to do it, and you want to do it every day. And, you know, if you don't digest your food correctly, your food was just really expensive waste. That I know that seems gross, but it's just the way it is. You have to actually digest the food to get the nutrition from the food. And as I mentioned, it is the #1 issue planet-wide right now. Immune issues being #2, but digestive definitely #1. So it's something that you definitely want to think about. Now, what about glycans? Well, you see on the label, you'll see acacia, you see aloe, and you see tragacanth. Okay. Each of these is there to provide you with glycans. And glycans are so important because they are essential for all cellular communication and cellular function. I will probably do a different lecture on glycans sometime in the future. I don't know. I do have recordings available on that, obviously, for you to look at. But we'll talk about it kind of briefly right here. Okay. So acacia and tragacanth is a gum that comes from several different plants. If you take a look at each of the plant materials and what glycans they provide, you'll see that if you combine the three of them together, each having their own glycans and crossover glycans. Okay, as an example, arabinose is found in 3 of these. Rhamnose is only found in 1 of these. Galacturonic acid is found in 3 of these. Okay, so there's some crossover. Now, in the beginning, I've listed ace-mannan. Ace-mannan, or acetylated mannan. This is a mannose which has been extracted from aloe. That is the foundation of Mannatech's flagship products. And we started our first glycan product, which was an ace-mannan product, back in 1995. Wow, long time ago, 30 years ago. That was a great product. It was called Mannalow. We don't have that product anymore. And we now have a product called Mannapol, which is our ace-mannan product. So ace-mannan is primarily mannose, but it isn't just mannose. Ace-mannan has a bunch of other glycans that are attached, and sometimes in the science of glycobiology, they'll use terms like the spine or the structure. So you picture this long structure or spine that has glycans attached to it. Okay. So ace-mannan has a lot of important glycans attached to it. It's an amazing glycan and health ingredient, not just for cellular communication, but we also know that ace-mannan may help to improve digestion of key nutrients such as vitamin A, vitamin D, very important stuff. So arabinose and rhamnose both have very specific functions that relate to specific things in your body, specific cellular functions. All of them combined contribute to proper cellular communication. And without cellular communication, folks, you have nothing. Think about this for a moment. If you have one of these things, a cell phone, but you don't have a cell phone tower connection, it's just a piece of junk. Doesn't do anything, right? You need to have a cell phone tower connection. Well, what the glycans do, different glycans have different letters of the alphabet that they understand, that they can put into a sentence. So if you want complete sentences and complete paragraphs for communication, in other words, complete instruction, then you need to have all the letters of the alphabet. And in the cellular alphabet, that all comes from glycans. This is the basis of Mannatech's flagship products of Ambritose and Mannapol. Okay, Mannapol being an Ace Mannan product, and Ambritose being a product that has all of the necessary glycans for cellular communication. Okay, and other benefits as well. Now, in one of these plants, there's also something called arabinogalactan, which I didn't list on the slide. But arabinogalactan all by itself has all kinds of benefits for immune modulation. And by the way, in the United States, you can no longer say immune modulation, but you can still say it in Australasia. So immune modulation means balancing the immune system. In fact, Ace Mannan is just so beautiful at balancing the immune system. Why do you want a balanced immune system versus a stimulated immune system? Well, there's a lot of people who have overactive immune systems that result in inflammation, that results in pain and swelling and all manner of health issues. You don't want your immune system to be higher than normal. You also don't want it to be lower than normal. You don't want to have a weak immune system. You want your immune system to be normal, balanced. That's called modulation, balancing. Okay. Same thing with hormones. Hormone modulation is about balancing hormones, not stimulating them or suppressing them, but balancing them. And balance should always be your goal. And there are a lot of people who don't get that right away. And they think, oh no, I want stimulation. I want power. I want whatever. No, you want modulation. You want balance. Because balance is wellness. That's what health is all about. Having all of your systems balanced properly. That's good health. And that's also longevity, by the way. So these glycans are there to help you in so many areas. We could do a whole presentation on that, but not today. So a lot of people say, well, how do you take this product? Pretty simple. You can take it with food. You can take it without food. Doesn't matter. It's so simple. No restrictions, folks. You can take it in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon. I recommend if you're going to do something strenuous, if you're an athlete, take it before you work out. Take it after you work out because it can help you with recovery as well. And you know what? If you're doing some kind of long distance thing, let's say you're doing a marathon run or something like that, you could also take sport during the workout. So it really is a pre, during, and post, but definitely a pre and post for athletes for workout. So if you're an athlete and you're thinking about more reps, more speed, more whatever, well, certainly sport is a product for you. But if you're just an everyday person who's not an athlete and you want to deal with inflammation and you want to do it in a safe way, well, I've already showed you some studies and showed you some comparisons on how you could do this in a safe way and an effective way. And that's pretty darn cool, folks. So I like to say that this product, Sport, it was designed by an athlete for athletes. It's a champion of anti-inflammatory function. So if you have inflammation, take Sport. if you're about to do something strenuous, maybe you're a weekend athlete where you're sitting at a desk all week, but on Saturday and Sunday you're going to get out there and play with the kids or the grandkids, or try and be a kid yourself, and your muscles will pay for it if you only do that periodically versus every day. And this is the product for you. It's a champion of anti-inflammatory function. So, my friends, I'm going to turn this back over to Poppy. And I hope that that was educational for everyone. And I know everybody is going to rush to their computer and order some sport right away.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Nugent, for such an amazing call. I think you are right that this product doesn't get spoken enough. And it's an amazing product, and it's definitely one that I'll start taking even when I'm not training, because I wasn't necessarily doing that. But thank you so much for your time today.